What's going on, everyone? It's Bales, and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Team Review post round 22. We had a good week. It was a very good week overall. 24-44, round rank of 2,074. Put me up 121 spots, which is nice. So back inside 600. Our goal of top 500 is still well and truly alive. We've still got 2 weeks to make up 84 spots, which is very gettable. I'm probably aiming for top 400 if I can get there. But the big, obviously, thing to come out of the weekend was I beat Mitch from the Ball Boys, and we are into the Content Creators Cup Grand Final against the other Ball Boy, which is Luke. He got the job done over Warney. So, yeah, two of the guys, funny enough, that were sort of in the bottom sort of six last year, myself and Luke, making the Grand Final. As Tim said on the pod last night, it's the same again. Last year, it was a Fantasy Fanatic and a Ball Boy in the Grand Final. Same thing again. So maybe the two top pods are going around. So there you go. But no, looking forward to that. Shout out to obviously Mitch and Warney for fantastic seasons as well, just going down the prelims. And obviously good luck to Luke. I'm sure we'll hear from him on the Ball Boys pod probably tonight when this video goes up. So yeah, no, looking forward to that. But yeah, so all in all, a pretty good week. Got the job done by 40 points as well, if anyone was wanting to know the margin. I got the win over Mitch. 24-04 is what he scored. So be a good week. Plenty of big scorers there. In terms of +3 and -3, it's very, very hard to go past the big X. It's good to have him on debut for a 168. I believe it's the third player that since fantasy stats have been sort of recorded and Dream Team's been a part of it, that 3 players have gone 150 in 3 consecutive games, or at least in the last 10 years anyway. I think you had Tom Rockcliffe in 2014, Tom Mitchell in 2018, and Tristan Cherry in the last 3 weeks. So he's in very, very good company. First player to hit 1.1 million in the game. Obviously, prices have increased, so it's more realistic. But in terms of like price points of where players have got, I think it's sort of around the mark of what Roy Laird was in his 120 average year and Tom Mitchell in his big year. So he's in sort of very unprecedented areas for ruckman, but then obviously in terms of obviously very good company there. So he's got to get it. If he was just a universal one, obviously there's plenty of other players I could give it to, but I do believe I gave it to Dylan Moore on the pod last night just for his massive game against Carlton there with a 132. 4 games in a row I've had him. Didn't go over 100 in any of them. Don't know if he actually hit, I don't think he hit 90 in any of them. So it was good to see him put up a big score and repay the faith there. But Tristan Cherry definitely gets my +3. -3. I'm going to give it to Sam Flanders, and you can obviously see that Goulden was lower, Caldwell was lower, even obviously Brad Hill, who we'll talk about shortly why I brought him in, and Hayden Young, Whitfield, Stewart, all lower. But the reason Flanders gets is because it's a bit of a double whammy for me. So he got the 82, he started really well, but he also cost me a draft semi-final. I put him captain in this matchup, and unfortunately cost me my match. I lost by about 40 points, maybe not even. Yeah, wasn't big. And again, if he went 100, 105, I would have probably got the win. So that was what was disappointing from it. But unfortunately, we can't do too much about that. But yeah, he gets a -3 there because of the double whammy more so. But yeah, let's get started with all the players. But before we do, as always, if you're enjoying the content and you want to show a bit of extra support for Bales for getting into the Content Creators Cup Grand Final, then make sure you do smash a big thumbs up on the video. Let's get over 100 likes to celebrate getting into the Grand Final. So, yeah, appreciate all your support and continued support throughout the season. Been fantastic. So, but yeah, let's get stuck into the players. Oh, and also make sure you do subscribe as well because obviously, we've only got 2 weeks left of the season, but we will be doing AFLW fantasy content. You will be seeing maybe a video or two coming out over the next sort of week or so, or 2 weeks leading up to the season. Probably just chatting to a team and stuff like that, but we'll see how we go with that. But we'll be doing all through the season, pre-lockout chats and round reviews on the Monday. So make sure you guys stick around for that once the AFL fantasy season's done as well. So looking forward to getting stuck into some AFLW fantasy and hopefully getting a hat there. But let's go through the players here. So Lockie Whitfield, 71, not great. Apparently played a bit forward in this game. I didn't actually get to watch this game. I watched the other game instead, which is why I don't like these overlapping games. I prefer to watch as much football as possible. But Whitfield played a little bit forward, apparently on Zorko. Didn't take many kick-ins either. That went to Himmelberg and Ash. If he's taken the kick-ins, he would have scored more. I just believe that was because of how bad Giants were in the first half, trying something different. Whitfield will go back to his scoring ways. Giants aren't going to be moving him into a different role So he'll be fine. I'm not worried about him at all. Got Freo this week back at NG Stadium, where Giants should be playing the home games. I don't really care about these bloody shows that they have throughout the middle of the year. Giants should be just playing all their games there, and maybe a couple of games at Manuka, but it should be NG Stadium where they should be playing all their home games because that's their home ground. But anyway, Whitfield, not great, but it's his first bad score in a long time. He'll be good. Harry Sheezel, 123. Very good considering he copped a couple of knocks throughout the game. Bit of an ankle issue. Just something to, I guess, monitor. But I think from what we're hearing is he'll be fine. It was just a bit sore. So Sheezel, who has got the Dogs this week and then finishes off with Hawthorn. Hopefully he can put up a couple of good scores there. Back under the roof at Marvel this week. Tom Stewart, 76. First game that he's failed in the role, unfortunately. Not great. 76, but he's been good, and I still expect him to be good. He's now got St Kilda into West Coast. St Kilda this week, it could be a big score, this one. If Windhager did come back this week, I'm not sure if he'd be back this week or the following week, but if he was back, maybe does he go with Stewart and just clamp him? Be very interesting. Ross Lyon's the sort of coach who'll clamp down on someone like that. But Stewart, if he doesn't get shut down, should bounce back with a big score against the Saints who give up points to defenders. Obviously, Dan Rioli went pretty well yesterday. Nick Martin, 127. He was big. Obviously, it was massive in the matchup with Mitch. Mitch didn't have me trade him out a bit ago. So I still had him, and he put up a big score there. Played 100% game time as well, which is fantastic. I forgot to mention that on the pod last night as well. He was everywhere, getting involved, playing in defence as well. And when he was on the wing, he would then go back as like the extra number in defence. So City this week, do they put some time into him? That's obviously just a little flag there, but I still think he'll be fine, especially if he's playing all that game time on the ground. It showed that he can run the game out really well. Nick Newman, 116. Oh, very, very impressive. I was thinking at halftime he was going to be getting my -3. I think he was on 21 points, but he didn't touch it for most of the first quarter, then got a couple of points late, and then didn't score anything in the second quarter. Then he got a handball, and then he got a very late +6. And he was on 20 at halftime. I thought, here we go. Like, we really need one of these 50-point quarters from him. And thankfully delivered, even though Carlton got absolutely smashed in this game, obviously not only on the scoreboard, but just with injuries as well, like multiple injuries, has put their season sort of hanging by a thread in a way. But Nick Newman had a 50-odd point quarter in the third quarter, had a 35-point last quarter, and had a massive... I think he had 89 points or 88 points in the second half. He was absolutely massive and got the job done, 116. He now goes up against West Coast this week, then into St Kilda. I expect him to have a big finish to the year like he did last year. Hayden Young, 75. I would love to trade him this week, but I think I've got other issues. The ceiling just obviously hasn't been there most of the year, but last few weeks, obviously, he's just put up some of these lower scores, So since the 105 there, 81, 89, 91, 106, 75. This is only scored below 80, but he's just not putting up any big scores. A bit similar to Holmes in a way. Giants in the Port. In a perfect world, I'd like to trade him. I just think there are two other issues I'd prefer to fix up than Young. But hopefully he can just put up an okay score against the Giants. Get a lot of tackles. That'd be nice. And then, maybe move in the week after. Obviously, Reed didn't play. Caleb Smith was a sub for 8. Errol Goulden, 69. That's his first bad score since opening round. I believe that's his only score below 80 in the actual regular fantasy season. But obviously, opening round, he went 69 as well. 82 was there and 83. So, that's only his third score all year below 90, minusing the opening round game. Copped a tag from Still Sidebottom. That took me by surprise, definitely. I expect him to respond. The good thing is his tackles have been pretty steady since round 16, getting at least 3 in every game, and he's got 5 in back-to-back games. Hopefully he responds. Eston then into Adelaide. Back on the roof at Marvel. On Friday night, I expect him to go a lot better than that 69 that he scored, and I can't see him getting a tag this week. Aaron Chalor, disappointing against the Crows. Obviously, the Dogs weren't great against the Crows there. Still had 28 disposals. He only had 2 less disposals than the week before, but again, a lot more handballs in this game here. Only the 3 marks, only 2 tackles. Obviously, there are games sometimes where he doesn't put up many of the marks and tackles, but 85 seemed a bit low. A couple of frees against as well didn't help, but I expect him to be okay for the most part against North Melbourne. There is a chance he cops a tag from a Will Phillips this week, but North Melbourne haven't been running tags even with Will Phillips in the last few weeks, so whether they tag Treloar again is to be seen. Maybe they go to Ed Richards like Sydney did. So I think Treloar will be okay, but obviously there is a slight fag that he does get a tab, but I'm not trading him out regardless. So he might even have Bedford in the final round if they don't decide to tag Bont, but surely tag Bont there. Then Josh Dunkley, 92, looking like a big score, 36 at quarter time, only end up on 92. Not great, but then again, even Tom Green, 98 was okay, but that game was really low scoring. The only player over a ton was Will Ashcroft with a 111. So even though they got 90s, they still were amongst the top scorers on the ground. So I expect Dunkley's got Collingwood this week. Really good matchup. Back at the Gabba. Not back at the Gabba because they aren't playing the Gabba. They played Collingwood at the Gabba earlier in the year and they've just played the Gabba. So they're playing at the MCG. So I'm expecting Dunkley to respond with a big score. Goes pretty well at the MCG as well. 107 average there. So what did he get against Collingwood early in the year? 101, okay. A little bit low, a lot of handballs in that game. I expect Dunkley to go pretty well this week. This game, I think, will suit him very well. And then, obviously, we mentioned Tom Green. Just got enough done with a lot of the ball. Not a huge amount of tackles. And Marksy just did enough as well there. But I expect him to have a better game. He's got Freo this week. Big game for both clubs as well. And yeah, I just see a Tom Green bounce back of a 110 plus and going pretty well. So Tom Green, I expect him to bounce back. I was just seeing if he played Freo this year, which he has not. The Bont was quiet in the first half, got really going in the second half. I think he had he had 86 points in the second half, but particularly from, as I think it was Tom on the pod last night said, from like 10 seconds to go in the second quarter onwards, he went, he was on 40, I think he's on 44 at quarter time, so maybe 82 points second half, but he had 96 essentially in the last two quarters in 10 seconds, so with the late plus 14. We know Bont can do this, he can just rack up, he got a 50-point last quarter to get there. He's got North this week, who where he went 126 earlier on in the season with 3 behinds, and last year went like a 140 odd. So I expect Bont to have a big game here. Dogs need to win again. Dogs need to win this game to keep their season alive still. And when Bont's had good matchups, he's gone pretty well. So I expect Bont to return to a big scoring ways, and then a tough matchup to finish there against the Giants. But Bont was very good. Zach Merritt, very, very good to see him put up a ceiling score. Second time, for the season, and first time since round 4 where he's gone 130 plus. So good to see him go big. I was hoping for a late +6 so he'd get his first score of over 140, but just had a good game. 32 touches, 8 marks, 5 tackles. It just makes a difference when you get these marks and tackles. Like, you get to 134, and guys like Adam Treloar and Tom Green had like 28 disposals, but they were like 50-odd points essentially for Treloar, 49 points off, and Tom Green was a good 36 points off. So just shows the difference. Sydney this week, tough matchup. I expect him to get the Jordan tag, but we have seen throughout the year Merritt Elwood to work his way through a tag. He's only had one score below 85 for the year. So been really consistent. Even with the Chincotta tag that he got, it was a really hard tag. Only had 21 touches, but had the 11 tackles. So if he can tackle his way to a decent score this week, I think he can still put up an okay score. And he's shown this year that he's been able to beat tags. Even like West Coast, I remember he got a really hard tag. He's still got a 111. So I think Merritt can still get it done, even in a tough tag. If it goes to him, who knows? Maybe Sydney don't even run a team out. They just go head-to-head. We'll have to see. But I think Merritt will get a tag there. Connor Rosey, 113. Good score. Had a good second half. 73 points the second half there. 113. Really good against Melbourne. Showdown this week. Big game for Port. They need to win this game to stay in the top 4. And Crows will definitely want to spoil the party and go into 2025 with some momentum. So big game, as the showdowns always are. And Rosey, the captain, I expect him to have a good game. Cave Sarong, 103. Kicked 3 goals to get there. At least he got the ton. We've seen, obviously, there's a few players here that didn't even get the ton. So at least he got the ton. I think he's got to go this week. I'll talk about my trades after, but he's got Bedford. It's like, I think, 95% chance he's going to Sarong. Slight chance he goes to Young, maybe a Clark or Brayshaw. But I just see Bedford. He plays in the mids. I think he'll go to Sarong. Sarong's been the more damaging player all year. And if you let him run free, He's just going to do what he likes. And Young can always go back in defence if it did go to him. So I think Sarong will get it, which is why I'll look at trading. Lawson Humphrey, 69. Was looking like he was going to go for a big score. Started really well, but sort of slowed down a little bit after that. But he's got the Saints this week. Could be a good loop option. Obviously, McAuliffe didn't play. The two big rucks, like they just keep getting it done week after week. Rowan Marshall, another 140. And he didn't have any tackles in this game either, which I think is that the first game this season he had 0 tackles? Yeah, first game all year, 0 tackles, which is very interesting. We've seen games where you can have lots of tackles, and if you had some tackles, geez, that 140 could have been absolutely massive. Only had 25 hit-outs as well, but still kicked 3 goals, 23 touch, 11 marks, which just got it done. 90% game time is huge, just playing high game time every week. Now 3 scores in a row over 130, and that's now, 5 in a row over 118. Just huge, and 4 of the last 5 over 130 is absolutely massive. Geelong this week, that is just a very, very good matchup. 118 against them earlier in the year. Only 19 touched in that as well. So I just expect a big score from Marshall this week. We're a very popular vice-captain option against Geelong. Tristan Cherry, we obviously mentioned before, with the +3, 168. Just absolutely incredible. Like, his last 3 been massive. His last, 7 have been big, bar that one game against Grundy. He just gets it done. And he gave away, how many is that? So I only gave away the 2 free kicks in that game, but still, 168 is just incredible. 12 tackles, that's a season high for him. He's going to have a game at some point where he has 16, 17 tackles. It's just crazy. 114. Do we start with him next year? Let me know. Actually, let me know in the comments below if you guys are starting with Cherry in your team next year. Obviously, it's still a while away. We've still got plenty of playing to do, and we've still got this season to finish, and then AFLW Fantasy, and then we've got to get round. But I'll tell you what, he's going to be very hard not to start with next year the way he's going. And heading into next year, he's only 25, so plenty of growth still to come. Zorko, so the forward line was a bit disappointing, bar a couple of names. So obviously, Zorko, 86, disappointing. Tough matchup. I expect him to go pretty big against Collingwood at the MCG. Flanders, 82, I mentioned him before, had a pretty quiet second half, particularly after quarter time as well, was quiet. Caldwell, 62. I thought after last week he was back into a bit of form, but then he sort of just went back down to a low score. I think is that his worst score for the year, bar the injured game? Yes, that's his only score. No, sorry, he started off with a couple of really bad scores, but game time again, back down below. Actually, no, it was 79%, so that's actually pretty good. But his first quarter time on ground was really bad, so never really got into the game. Only 2 tackles as well. His tackles have been down the last month after having that really good period from rounds 12 to 18 where he just kept tackling everything. So hopefully he responds. He's got Sydney and Brisbane to come, obviously, with merit. So tough run, but I think Caldwell can finish off with a couple of good scores if he can have some tackle-heavy games. Isaac Heaney, so these are the 2 guys that went well. So Isaac Heaney, huge last quarter, one of the best individual quarters I've seen from a player all year. Got Sydney over the line, 60 points in last quarter, so nearly doubled his score there. Fantastic. I reckon that's his biggest score for the year. I reckon his top score before it was a 125, if I'm not mistaken. 125 against the Crows, 125 against Carlton. Okay, no, equal season high because he got the 127 against Richmond earlier in the year. But it was good. It was his first 120 plus score first score over 110 since round 14, and only his second since round 10. So good to see him back into a bit of form. Essendon and Crows to finish. I think he'll finish off well. Sydney could get a bit of bounce from that win and finish the season strong. So Heaney will still be good. Obviously, I mentioned Dylan Moore before, the 132. That's an equal season high, or is that his season high? Is that his first score of 130? No, equal season high because he got the 132 against the Crows. He kicked 5 goals in that game to get that one, whereas this game he got the 15 marks. So just showing that ceiling. As I said, last month he didn't go. He only had the 1 score over 90 there against Collingwood in the wet. But no, good to see him have a really good game. Richmond North to finish. I think you just need him. Simple as that. Only got 96 against North Melbourne early in the year, but I just expect him to have a really strong game here. Did he play Richmond as well? Yeah, 77. So not a huge score, but yeah, I expect Dylan Moore to finish off with 2 big scores. So, yep, really like him if you don't have him. And then Brad Hill, obviously, so Campbell Gray, Hutchinson, and Dowling didn't play. Still really surprised with the Billy Dowling omission, but Brad Hill. So you probably, obviously, Mateus Philippou was there. Obviously, as we all know, Mateus Philippou was a late out, and I obviously couldn't do anything else but bring in another forward, obviously, because if I didn't bring anyone in, I had no cover, obviously, because Dowling got dropped. So had to go to someone 597k or under. I think my two options that I really had was Shea Bolton and Brad Hill. I went Brad Hill. I think I gained about 14 or 15 points or something like that. So happy that I went the better option in the end. I think the only two options really that I missed where I would have gained a couple of points would have been Rochelle. He got 73 and Tim Membry who got a 77. Thinking about now, could have gone to Membry to make the cash as well as get hopefully a good score because I lost 18k on Brad Hill, but then I could have gained 30-odd K on Membry. So nearly 50k lost if I really looked at it more in depth, and that could have potentially been helpful with trades this week. But at the end of the day, I really wasn't looking in depth with it. I was sort of thinking, crap, what am I going to do? So Brad Hill, 71. Hey, I'll take it, especially after going, 3 scores under 55 and a couple of 40s in his last few games. Good to see him with a 71 there in a good matchup, but he'll probably go for me, which will probably lead into my trades. Early plans anyway. I was a bit settled on my plans last week, and I'm pretty settled on my plans this week. So as long as Philippou comes back in, I will go Brad Hill to Matthias Philippou. So again, it's annoying, sort of 2 wasted trades. It's like an extra trade now I've got to do. So instead of going like a Young out this week, I've now got to go a Brad Hill out instead, just because I'm a bit nervous with his floor. He's just got such a low floor. I can't afford that, especially in a grand final matchup. So it'll be Brad Hill will be going to Philippou if he's fine, and then I'll be going Caleb Sarong out with that tag coming. And I think I'm going to be going one of Sam Walsh or Noah Anderson. I'm currently on Noah Anderson because I just like the final 2 matchups against Melbourne and Richmond. But Walsh is definitely there against West Coast and St Kilda there. They're probably the 2 options I can get. I think, anyone under like 901 or something. So they're the main 2. I can't get like a Sinclair or a Butters or anything like that. So they're the 2 that I'm looking at. There is a chance that if I want to keep Brad Hill, if Philippou didn't come back in, because if Philippou doesn't come back in, there's not really anyone I can get from Brad Hill. So Oldham was just keep him, and then maybe I'd go Young to like a Max Holmes or something, and go and get Anderson or a Walsh for Sarong. But then obviously if I could also keep Sarong and then go Brad Hill up, but there's not really anyone I really want to go to that could outscore him. So we'll have to see how it all goes. But we might be stuck in a pick if Philippou doesn't come back. But I expect him to, because it was just illness. So I expect him to come back in and everything. So there you go. But that'll be it for the video. As always, if you are enjoying the content, make sure you do smash a big thumbs up on the video. That'd be very much appreciated. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so we can hit 2.7k subscribers before the season's out. We've got a couple of weeks. I think we got about 70 odd or under 70 now. It might even be like sort of closer to 60 now. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do, so we can hit that goal before the end of the season. I may even do a video tomorrow, sort of just previewing my upcoming matchup with Luke, just with the matchup and stuff. So if you guys want to see that, put in the comments, and I can sort of preview our matchups and stuff. So if you'd like to see that, be a short one, so let me know. We might do that one, and then it could be an AFLW fantasy video sometime throughout the week. And obviously we've got our usual videos dropping on the Q&A on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern and 7 p.m. Western Standard Time live. Trade talk, captains, all that type of stuff with a couple of weeks to go. So looking forward to that as always. So, and if you've got any questions as well and you want to send them through to me, then head over to Ask Me on Q, spelt qu.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics. Not only AFL fantasy questions, but you can also send through your AFLW fantasy questions as well, regarding sort of starting teams. You can screenshot your teams, you can type it out, send it all through, and I can give you my advice on your AFLW fantasy stuff, obviously with a couple of weeks to go. And then, yeah, obviously if you've got league matchups to win and you want advice that you don't want anyone else hearing, then you get a personalised audio response straight to email, and I can help you with whatever question you need help with. So if you want to hit that up, the link is at the very top of the description, so you can't miss it. So yeah, thanks for everyone that does that. So anyway, we're back tomorrow, as I said, for the Q&A. So thanks guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys then. So I'm out. Cheers.